Good evening, I'm Peter. Thanks for joining me for the latest from Vietnam and Southeast Asia. Tonight, hundreds are stranded on a Vietnam island after the ferry service shuts down. Vietnam Airlines clamps down on lithium batteries in the skies, and Ho Chi Minh City edges closer to breaking ground on its long-awaited second metro line. We'll also cover a shocking case of two Chinese teens jailed for murdering a Vietnamese taxi driver, a dentist accused of attacking his own patient, and, believe it or not, why you should never drink coconut water straight from the shell. Plenty to get through tonight, so let's dive in. And now, here's Scott with more.
Good evening, and thank you for joining me for all the latest news straight from Vietnam and Southeast Asia. Our first story brings us to Cat Ba Island. Imagine you're wrapping up a trip to Cat Ba Island, ready to head back to the mainland, and suddenly you can't. That's exactly what happened last weekend when hundreds of people found themselves stranded overnight after the ferry service abruptly shut down. On September 7th, visitors to Cat Ba Island in northern Vietnam were caught off guard when ferries stopped operating earlier than expected. Normally, ferries between Cat Ba and Hai Phong run from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m., but the operator, the Hai Phong Waterway Traffic Safety Corporation, suspended service after completing the day's 48 allotted trips, despite many passengers still waiting. For one family from Hai Phong's Le Chen district, arriving at the terminal at 5 p.m. meant no ferry, no warning, and no way home. Others in the same situation said they tried calling the ferry board and even the city's Department of Construction, but received no information or assistance. In Vietnam, many travelers voiced frustration, calling the decision rigid and unreasonable. The sudden suspension created confusion, disrupted schedules, and left visitors with few alternatives for accommodation or transport. The situation quickly drew the attention of city authorities. Lê An Quan, vice chairman of the Hai Phong People's Committee, criticized the operator for handling the situation poorly. He stressed that ferry services should only be suspended for valid reasons such as safety concerns or adverse weather conditions, and in such cases, passengers must be notified in advance. Quan also directed the operator to provide a full report by September 13 and to coordinate with hotels to ensure tourists have places to stay if disruptions occur again. Beyond short-term measures, the city has ordered upgrades at the Dong Bai Kai Vieng ferry terminal, improvements in passenger capacity, and the addition of more vessels during periods of high demand. These upgrades are expected to be completed by September 20th. Authorities also emphasize the need for transparent ferry schedules and clear policies on service suspensions to restore public confidence. To understand why this incident caused such a strong reaction, it helps to consider the role of Cat Ba Island. Known for its national park, limestone cliffs, and beaches, Cat Ba is one of northern Vietnam's most popular tourist destinations. It also serves as a gateway to Lan Ha Bay, a quieter alternative to the famous Ha Long Bay. On weekends and during peak season, thousands of travelers rely on the ferry system to reach and leave the island. Any disruption has an immediate and wide-reaching impact. The incident highlights ongoing challenges with transportation infrastructure in Vietnam's growing tourist hubs. While Cat Ba has seen significant increases in visitor numbers in recent years, ferry services have not always expanded quickly enough to keep up with demand. Local residents and businesses on the island also depend on reliable transport links for goods and daily travel. Authorities say the goal now is not just to prevent a repeat of last weekend's disruption, but to build a system that can handle peak loads more efficiently. If implemented properly, the measures announced, including expanded terminal capacity and additional vessels, could reduce the risk of large-scale delays and improve the overall travel experience for visitors. For travelers, the lesson is clear. Checking ferry schedules early in the day and allowing extra time is advisable, especially during weekends or holidays when demand is high. But for now, The message from Haiphong's authorities is clear. Passenger safety and service reliability must come first. Our next story looks at new developments affecting Vietnam's largest airline. I want you to imagine this. You're at the airport. Deja vu flickers, because that little handheld charger you rely on might now be a ground-only accessory. Vietnam Airlines has introduced new safety measures targeting lithium backup batteries, commonly known as power banks, effective immediately. These devices are prohibited in checked baggage across all flights operated by the Vietnam Airlines Group, which includes Vietnam Airlines, Pacific Airlines, and Vasco. Passengers must now declare them at check-in and carry them in hand luggage for easy inspection. This move aligns with international safety protocols. Lithium batteries, prized for powering personal electronics, can ignite or explode if damaged or overheated. That's why they've long been banned from checked luggage under global regulations. Recent incidents of onboard fires and smoke, some serious enough to prompt emergency landings, have renewed global caution around these devices. To manage potential onboard incidents, Vietnam Airlines has equipped its fleet with new safety tools. These include heat-resistant gloves and fire and smoke-proof containment bags, all certified by the Civil Aviation Authority of Vietnam and sourced from leading global manufacturers. Airline crews have also received enhanced training to handle emergencies effectively. On the ground level, the airline has partnered with the Immigration Department under the Ministry of Public Security to step up baggage screening at major hubs like Noi Bai and Tan Son Nhat international airports, aiming to spot risky lithium devices before takeoff. Vietnam Airlines also commits to ongoing vigilance. The airline plans to regularly assess risks and update its policies in line with guidance from the International Civil Aviation Organization, the International Air Transport Association, and other domestic and international aviation authorities. This adjustment is not unique to Vietnam's national airline. Globally, carriers from Singapore Airlines to Cathay Pacific, Emirates to Korean Air have implemented similar restrictions on lithium batteries and power banks, especially regarding their usage and storage during flights. The urgency behind such measures is clear. Fire risks linked to lithium batteries remain among aviation's leading safety concerns. In 2025 alone, U.S. authorities reported multiple incidents involving portable chargers, prompting policy changes such as requiring devices to remain visible when in use. Tech companies have also joined the conversation. On September 1st, a prominent tech firm issued a global recall of a 20,000 mAh power bank due to overheating risks that could lead to fires or explosions, highlighting the real-world stakes involved. If you're flying with Vietnam Airlines or any carrier under its group, here's what you need to do. 1. Declare your lithium backup batteries at check-in. 2. Carry them in your hand luggage. 3. Keep them visible and easily accessible, not buried in a pocket or overhead bin. 4. Avoid placing them in checked baggage. 5. Expect casual inquiry or inspection when checking in. This is now standard protocol. 6. Stay alert to further updates from airlines or international aviation bodies. For international passengers, especially Westerners familiar with more relaxed policies, this tightening may come as a surprise. Even if local regulations are newly enforced, global carriers have been tightening controls for months. That includes restrictions on both usage and storage of portable power devices, not only bans in checked baggage, but also prohibiting their in-flight use or charging. In Vietnam, where many travelers rely on smartphones, tablets, or cameras, and often bring multiple power banks to stay connected, these new rules may require earlier planning and awareness. For travelers, staying informed and following these rules isn't just convenient, it's essential for a smooth, worry-free journey. Construction on Ho Chi Minh City's Metro Line Number 2, the route linking Ben Thanh to Tam Luang, is finally moving forward. After years of delay, the city has selected a new consortium to oversee the critical consultancy phase, bringing actual work one step closer. The Management Authority for Urban Railways, MAUR, has approved a VND 175 billion, roughly USD $6.6 million, contract for a consortium comprising Guangzhou Metro Design and Research Institute from China, Southern Transport Design Consultancy JSC, Port and Seafield Engineering Design Consulting JSC, and Artelia SAS. Their assignment: update the feasibility study, revise technical designs to meet current standards, and support the tendering process for construction contractors. This consultancy package is pivotal. It dictates when and how construction can begin. The previous consultant agreement, involving German, Swiss, and Vietnamese firms, was suspended in 2018 and officially terminated by 2022 after disputes over fees stalled financing negotiations and tender procedures. Metro Line 2 is designed to span approximately 11 kilometers, with 9 underground stations and 1 elevated station. It will travel along major thoroughfares, including Trong Chin and Kak Mang Thang Tam, before terminating at the underground Ben Thanh Station in the heart of District 1. What started as a 2026 project has now been pushed all the way to 2030, with costs soaring past 47.8 trillion VND, or about 1.8 billion US dollars. In July, the central government approved MAUR's proposal to shift from using official development assistance loans to domestic public funding. This financial reconfiguration aims to avoid further delays and streamline project implementation. Construction progress is expected to ramp up quickly. MUR has confirmed that site clearance and technical infrastructure relocation are already complete. If consultant selection proceeds smoothly, groundwork could begin by the end of 2025, aligning with fast-track procedures permitted under recent national resolutions. Metro Line Number 1, stretching from Ben Thanh to Suoi Tien, became operational last December, marking the first functioning metro line in the city's system. Metro Line 2 is intended to become the backbone of HCMC's expanding transit network, with a total of 7 additional lines planned over the next decade to form a 355-kilometer network. This is not merely another infrastructure project. It represents a decisive turning point in how HCMC tackles urban transit expansion. Faced with chronic traffic congestion and increasing demand for efficient mass transport, authorities are now leveraging streamlined funding and fast-track mechanisms, a shift underscored by the cancellation of international ODA loans. The significance of Metro Line 2 extends well beyond transport. It's expected to support transit-oriented development, high-density corridors, and both economic and social activity along its route. Pressing forward with the new consultant allows urban planning, environmental, and financial systems to align under a unified, domestically led push. If you're planning to live, work, or visit in HCMC in coming years, Metro Line 2 should be on your radar, especially if your routine crosses major arteries like Chung Chin or centers around District 1. For professionals in real estate, logistics, or urban planning, this signals renewed momentum in infrastructure, offering opportunities around property development, new business hubs, and transit-adjacent commerce. Commuters should also stay informed of construction schedules. Traffic management will intensify along the route as work zones expand. Expect occasional disruptions and stay updated via official channels for transit advisories. The award of the consultancy contract for Metro Line 2 marks a critical milestone. With domestic funding secured, feasibility studies underway, and site clearance complete, Ho Chi Minh City now stands poised to finally break ground on this long-delayed project, strengthening its commitment to modern, efficient public transit. Stories like these are never easy to report. 3 Chinese teenagers have received lengthy prison sentences after being convicted of murdering a Vietnamese taxi driver, allegedly out of fear of human trafficking. On September 8th, the People's Court of Quang Ngai Province delivered the verdict. Huang Ji-cheng, aged 19, received a 19-year sentence. Luo Shen-jun, aged 17, was sentenced to 13 years, and Gan Ying, aged 18, received an 11-year sentence. All 3 were found guilty on charges of murder and robbery. According to the court's findings, the trio illegally crossed into Quang Ninh Province on July 26, 2024. They were responding to a job offer from an unidentified online intermediary. At around 3 a.m. the following day, they boarded a taxi driven by a 48-year-old man from Ha Long City, intending to travel south. During the journey, Luo noticed the taxi's navigation system showing a destination in Cambodia. Fearing they were being deceived and could be trafficked, the teenagers attempted to contact their online broker, but were unable to reach him. Convinced they were in danger, the group decided to kill the driver using a shirt to strangle him, then steal the vehicle and return north. Later that day, at approximately 6 p.m., they stopped at a roadside eatery in Quang Ngai Province. About an hour after resuming the trip, at a gas station, they carried out the attack. Huang then drove the vehicle to a deserted area, where they dumped the victim's body. They fled northward, disposing of the victim's mobile phones to avoid tracking and taking VND 3.5 million and 100 yuan in cash. However, their escape was short-lived. Traffic police in Guangbing Province stopped the taxi for inspection. When the teenagers tried to flee, they were apprehended and arrested. This case underscores the dangers posed by deceptive online job offers, particularly those that lead individuals across borders. The suspicions of being trafficked triggered a deadly response, resulting in the tragic loss of life and multiple decades of incarceration for the suspects. Though isolated, this case highlights serious risks within irregular migration routes. Young individuals who believe they are being deceived or forced into human trafficking may react under extreme fear, sometimes with fatal consequences. Vietnam's prosecution of these offenders underlined its commitment to enforcing legal protections for its citizens and deterring cross-border crimes. The sentences, rooted in both murder and robbery charges, reflect the severity of the act and the court's weight given to both intention and outcome. What viewers should know for expatriates and Westerners in Vietnam, or those planning to visit, this case serves as a stark reminder to exercise caution when encountering online job offers, especially those that originate from unknown sources or promise quick overseas work. You know how going to the dentist is already everyone's least favorite appointment? Well, in Ho Chi Minh City, one patient's trip went from bad braces to a downright bruising encounter, and not in the way you'd expect. A disturbing episode has surfaced in Ho Chi Minh City, where a dentist stands accused of violently assaulting a patient who confronted her about complications from braces. On September 3rd, Tien Thao, 31, visited Tuệ Chin Dental Clinic to address severe pain that followed the removal of her braces. She had paid 22 million VND in 2021 for the orthodontic treatment, and after removal in August 2025, suffered significant discomfort. A second opinion at another facility revealed bone damage, prompting her return to the original clinic for answers. According to Ms. Tao's account, the situation escalated rapidly. During the confrontation, Dr. Chin allegedly struck her with a metal rod, grabbed her neck, and hurled insults. The dentist then seized and shattered her phone and eyeglasses, which were valued at approximately 20 million VND. The incident was captured on video by a friend who accompanied Miss Tao, and she is now receiving treatment for neck injuries at Ho En Mai Hospital. Authorities have initiated a formal investigation. In response, the Ho Chi Minh City Department of Health has suspended operations at the Tuet Chin Dental Clinic pending the outcome of the investigation. The department strongly condemned the assault, stating that doctors must uphold professional ethics regardless of patient disputes. Inspectors also uncovered additional violations at the clinic, including operating beyond its permitted scope, inadequate infrastructure, improper advertising, and several staff members lacking valid professional practice certificates. The agency has encouraged hospital officials to monitor and support Ms. Thao during her recovery. The Ministry of Health has also stepped in, requesting that the city's Department of Health conduct a thorough review of the incident. Authorities have been asked to assess the professional conduct and ethics of the clinic's medical staff and submit a written report by September 15th. The review will include inspection of medical procedures and the handling of patient grievances. Why rare? This incident highlights critical challenges in the oversight of private medical and dental practices. Patient trust hinges on transparency, professional accountability, and access to safe, respectful care. Assaulting a patient, regardless of context, crosses a boundary that demands immediate and decisive action. The regulatory breaches uncovered, operating outside licensed parameters, improper advertising, and insufficient professional certification suggest systemic weaknesses that the authorities must address to restore public confidence. For expats, travelers, and Western residents in Vietnam, incidents like this are rare, but they underscore the importance of due diligence when choosing healthcare providers. Always verify that clinics have valid credentials and a reputation for ethical care. Document your experiences and never hesitate to seek second opinions or escalate complaints if you feel unsafe or mistreated. The alleged assault by a healthcare professional on a patient reflects a breach of trust and ethics. With clinic operations suspended, investigations underway, and oversight mechanisms in motion, this event offers a crucial moment for reform in Vietnam's private healthcare sector. They say nothing beats cracking open a fresh coconut on a hot day in Vietnam, but before you sip straight from the shell, here's a thought. Would you drink out of a cup that just rolled around in the dirt, got handled by 5 people, and sat in the sun all day? Exactly. I want you to picture this. You slice open a fresh coconut, extract the water, and take a satisfying sip, only to find out that what seemed harmless might not be the best idea after all. Recent health advice is urging caution. Health professionals now recommend against drinking coconut water directly from the shell without proper preparation. The reason? Potential contamination and bacterial risks that are easy to overlook when enjoying what seems like nature's pure refreshment. Research indicates that even seemingly clean coconuts can host harmful bacteria on their shells, chief among them Vibrio species, which thrive in coastal environments, or other pathogens stemming from handling or unsanitary storage. While the coconut's interior is sterile, contaminants on the shell can enter the liquid during cutting and pouring, especially if the outside wasn't cleaned thoroughly. Even more, coconut water can become a breeding ground if left at room temperature. Its naturally high sugar content enables any introduced bacteria to multiply rapidly. So the longer it's sitting around, the riskier that fresh sip becomes. So what's the safest way to enjoy coconut water? First, always wash the shell before cracking it open. A quick scrub with clean water and a brush can dramatically reduce the microbial load on the surface. Second, work on a clean surface with sanitized utensils and hands to prevent contact with any lingering bacteria. Third, drink it soon after opening, and if you must store it, keep it chilled in a clean, sealed container. And for added safety, consider labeling stored coconut water with the date. so you don't forget how long it's been sitting. This recommendation is especially important for foreign residents and tourists in Vietnam, where fresh coconuts by the roadside are abundant and often consumed on the go. While it's tempting to down coconut water straight from the shell, after all, that's part of its charm, the reality is that ideal hygiene standards aren't always met in busy urban or rural settings. Health experts emphasize that even in tropical climates where coconuts are ubiquitous, food safety practices still matter. Pathogens can lurk unseen and transform an innocuous refreshment into a gastroenteritis risk, especially for individuals with weaker immune systems, children, or older travelers. If you're enjoying coconut water during your stay in Vietnam, always clean the shell first before cutting into it. Use clean tools and surfaces when opening the fruit. Prefer drinking immediately rather than storing at room temperature. Keep any leftovers cold and label them with a date if you're saving them for later. These steps take only moments but can make a significant difference in ensuring your refreshment stays safe and delicious. That wraps up our coverage for tonight. Thank you for watching and staying informed with us. We'll continue bringing you the latest stories from Vietnam and across the region. Until next time, this is Vietnam News, where East meets West.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. I'm Peter, and from all of us here at Vietnam News, thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next report.